Hello, everybody, and welcome back to that FPL show. It's game week 5. I'm joined by Rod and Danny. How you doing, boys?
Not too bad, fella. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Danny.
It's good to be back for another week.
Yeah, it is good to be back. It was a pretty decent week of football. It was great to have the Prem back. I've watched so many games this weekend, and I'm looking forward to this week as well. The Champions League coming back. How did you boys get on this week with fantasy?
Once again, the blinder played a blinder. I finished on 88 points, and I think that -4 definitely paid off. Bringing Marcel in and him getting 13 points, the -4 was in the distant past. And obviously, I think made the best captain choice. Ronaldo, 26.
Yeah, and
I don't really think I could have done any more.
yeah, I was trying to keep up with that Wolves game, and I just thought, man, how jammy are you? And then when I saw his assists, they're not even really assists. They like bounce off other players, and that. Oh, I was really gutted, to be honest, when I saw you got that, because I thought I was going to beat you this week.
Along with that clean sheet and 2 bonus, Marcel
Yeah,
nicely. How about you, Jack? How did you do this week?
yeah, I did. I did pretty well. I got myself up to 5th in our league. I'm going to hunt you down to the very end, Rod. I made some ballsy choices this week. My defense is weak on paper, but they had an absolute blinder. I had Luke Shaw, Livramento, and Duffy, 2 5s and a 6, and Rob Sanchez in goal. Starting to pay off. He gave me a 6 as well. Obviously, I had Captain Ronaldo. Did a great job. Lukaku as well in my team. It was just Antonio really who let me down, and Wolves with taking off Trincao. I thought he's having a really good game, and I was a bit disappointed when he came off. But other than that, I had how many points did I have? I had 81 points this week, so it's one of my better weeks. I'm pretty happy with that. Danny, I heard you had a great week.
Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. I got a grand total of 35 points, and I think it can all be centered around my big mistake of keeping with Harry Kane as my captain and not swapping him out for Ronaldo. I was thinking about it, and I was like, I would have had to use my wild card, and I just, I was trying to be smart, save my wild card. Oh, and it just backfired because we obviously know Kane did nothing against Crystal Palace. I don't even think he really touched the ball more than 10 times. 4 points. Obviously, I would have got about 28 points if I had Ronaldo in with his 2 goals. My other striker, Mikel Antonio, got sent off in his game against Southampton, -1 points. Oh, it's just great. Of course, I have 2 Man United defenders, and again, United not getting a clean sheet. Harry Maguire getting a measly 2 points. It's just really not good enough. It backfired. I need to just act more, make more transfers, be more active. It's just, I'm embarrassing myself right now.
Did anyone on your point actually get double figures?
No.
Okay, fair enough, Danny. And coming up with this week now, Danny, are you going to make any transfers?
I think I'm going to have to make more than 1 transfers, I think it's going to have to be a wild card,
Wild card, baby!
Get Ronaldo in first and foremost. Maybe see if I can somehow fit Lukaku in. Get out these United defenders, because United just aren't getting clean sheets at the moment. Getting out Hugo Lloris from goalkeeper spot after Spurs' performance. Yeah, I might just change the whole 11, to be honest. It's that bad, but yeah.
Fair enough. Rod, are you looking to make any transfers this week, or are you going with more of the same?
So I think looking at my team and planning for the future, obviously, I think this week I'll be banking, which I haven't really got much of a choice, and I've got to play Sissoko. Even though they have got Norwich away, he wouldn't usually be in my team. And I've also got to play Livramento at Man City away. So I'm not looking too good going into it, but I think next week with that extra transfer, I can eventually look to ship Fernandes and Shaw. But I want to keep this run up, and hopefully my captain or my external players will prevail.
Yeah, fair enough. Personally, I'm looking more to the future. I'm going to be saving my transfer this week. Obviously, I've got Antonio, so I'm going to have to bench him. So I'm looking to bring in Brandon Williams into a back 4. Obviously, I got Watford, and I have been impressed with Watford going forward. And I've been very disappointed with Norwich at the back, so this could go terribly wrong. but I'm gonna hope for like a 0-0 draw or something like that. And hopefully we can get on. Obviously, I am going to be looking to ship out, one of Trincao, Benrahma, or Ferran Torres to bring in some funds so I can hopefully upgrade, Williams to a better defender so I can interchange between Duffy and Brandon Williams. Yeah, just wanted to talk about, some of the fixtures from last week. I'm going to start with United against Newcastle. It was a return of the king. It was a very good game. United were a bit slow to start. Didn't get Ronaldo too many looks in the first half, but when they did get the opening goal, it came from a Mason Greenwood shot from outside the box, and you could just see the determination on Ronaldo already to get into position to score. His second goal was brilliant. Some people say it's a bit lucky going for the keeper's legs. I disagree. Obviously, Newcastle did equalise before that. And it was a bit of the same. United getting hit on the break, and I just thought, it's pretty poor defending from the likes of Matic and Maguire, just diving in recklessly, leaving Varane all alone at the back. But the other goals, I think Bruno may have scored one of the goals of the month with that finish from outside the box, an absolute brilliant goal. And the fourth goal for Lingard's, I mean, what can you say other than Paul Pogba? What a player. Brilliant game for United, brilliant result, putting on top of the table. How did you boys think about the United-Newcastle game?
I would just like to add that I'm not going to talk about the game, but like sort of the effect of Ronaldo being there at United. I feel like there was a sort of feel-good factor about United, which I haven't really seen for a long, long time. Everyone was optimistic. The atmosphere was probably the best we've heard it in a long time. And
yeah.
That's what sort of he's not just lifting the team. He's not just lifting the other players around him. He's lifting the supporters, and it can really turn United into potential challengers, two challengers.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Rod, because obviously we're United fans, we're a bit biased, and obviously me and Danny love Ronaldo. What did you think of his debut? Was it what you expected, or did you expect a bit more?
I think so. We know Ronaldo, he's not that nifty winger anymore. He's that prolific poacher. I think we got exactly what we thought with Ronaldo. It was from a Greenwood, I think it's an FPL assist, where Greenwood shot, the keeper's parried it, and Ronaldo's there. That's what you get with Ronaldo. And then you have that charge and run by Luke Shaw, threads in Ronaldo, and he scores. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get goals. Was I surprised that he scored two? No, not at all. And if we look at XG especially, like Man United had an XG of 2.58 that game compared to Newcastle's 0.63. So I don't think you boys are being biased at all. It was total domination by the looks of it. And Ronaldo's he's boosting the players around him. The players want to be better. And I think United are going to be a real force. I think that Newcastle game was just a taste of things to come.
Yeah, I hope so. And obviously people were worried about his legs, is he still fast? And did you see the Ronaldo sprinting through for his second goal where he hit 20 miles per hour? Just putting all those questions to bed. I was very happy for United. I thought they played really well, deserved the win. Newcastle were a bit tricky, like I thought they were going to be, parking the bus and trying to hit us on the breakaway, but got the result in the end. And very good for United. Going on to Palace against Spurs. Danny, obviously, as a Vieira hater, the main Vieira slander. What did you think, man?
Vieira and Palace did surprise me. I remember last week I did predict a Spurs win. That's why I had two players in my FPL team from Spurs, Lloris and Kane. But we saw how it unfolded. It was complete domination by Palace, really. Spurs didn't really do anything for the entire game, Palace had all the chances, really, and Spurs just looked non-existent. And it kind of reminded me of how they were under Mourinho a lot, not creating chances, not having the ball. And this is the thing with Nuno. He is a defensive manager, and they had a lot of injuries, to be fair, but they weren't ambitious enough. This is Crystal Palace we're talking about. And it was just kind of embarrassing from Spurs. And then on the other hand, Palace, I thought they did really well. Vieira, good on him. He's proven me wrong. He's got Palace playing. I think in the middle, Gallagher is a great signing, and he was really driving Palace up the field. And of course, you got Edouard coming on off the bench, scoring 2 goals on his debut. It's looking very good for them this season.
Yeah, and for Spurs, obviously, because of the international break, they were missing Romero and Lo Celso, and I thought it really showed in the midfield. I do like Oliver Skip. I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Winks, but I don't mind you playing him in there with Højbjerg. I was going to say I felt like they really lacked someone in the midfield with someone who could, direct how the game was going to go, dictate the tempo. I think Lo Celso could have really helped them in there. There's a couple chances where Ederson was really far wide on his own, and he could have got the ball and put a ball in for Spurs, but they weren't able to find him. On the other hand, I thought Ederson had a real rough game. I thought he started quite well, but then as soon as Zaha got to grips with him, he was able to body him pretty easily, turn him.
Baptism of fire, really, playing up against Zaha, one of the league's trickiest wingers. So and Zaha, obviously, Rod, you're not a big fan of Zaha. You saw what Tanganga did to him. What did you think about the game? And what did you think about the incident with Tanganga?
Tanganga, he's a young player, and he was always trouble against Zaha. Zaha is a nifty winger. He gets in people's heads and he causes trouble. And I remember me last week saying about Nuno's a defensively sound team. Nuno teams usually are. Attacking wise, they can be, but they're not brilliant. And I'm going to touch back on XG again, where Palace had an XG of 3.07 compared to Spurs' 0.08. And it kind of shows you that the atmosphere Selhurst Park has, and they made it difficult for Spurs all game. And it was essentially, they brought hard on and he just finished the job, where just Spurs were basically invisible all game, which is strange considering they were without Son, but they have got one of the best strikers in the world, and Crystal Palace managed to keep him quiet. So it'd be interesting to see if this is slowly Vieira moulding his team into exactly what he wants. But I think this is probably a freak result for Spurs, but like I said last week, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the top four come the end of the year.
Yeah, you did say that. Danny, just touching on Palace, obviously you have been hating on Vieira recently, not a very good manager, but as his signings are coming in now, it looks like they've got a real striker in their hands with Edouard coming in. Obviously, he came on, first touch, goal, and then late on in the game as well, he scored again. Do you see maybe Palace in a different light now, as they have been putting in some really decent performances of late?
Yeah, I think they are going to be doing a lot better than I predicted, but I still think it's going to be a long road for them. I think it's going to be a lot of shifty sort of results. There's going to be a lot of losses, a lot of wins, a lot of draws, not really building up a sort of run. It's going to take a while for those signings to fold in. I don't really see Edouard going on a run just after these two goals, but I'd love to prove wrong. I really like Palace, and I already mentioned him, but Gallagher in the midfield is just a really good player, and it's another Chelsea on loans player. It just shows how many good players Chelsea have. So
let's go to Leeds-Liverpool, Rod.
I think obviously this was the only game on the Super Sunday, and it was a super game if you're a Liverpool fan, not so much if you're a Leeds fan. And I just thought Liverpool were absolutely brilliant from start to finish. You can see this is a team they're comfortable playing. Thiago, he was absolutely brilliant. He dictated play. He didn't slow it down. He kept it moving. And I just thought they were absolutely brilliant. And looking at the XG, Liverpool had an XG of 4.36 compared to Leeds' 0.89. And you wouldn't have thought this with Leeds being at home with the Ellen Road crowd behind them. But Liverpool were brilliant. They cancelled out the noise. And when you Salah, anything can happen. And him and Trent with the link-up play for the first goal was fantastic. And eventually Mane did score, but I thought Liverpool were brilliant, and it shows you why. They did win the Champions League a couple of years ago, and they won the league. So it's going to be a very interesting season for Liverpool.
Yeah, I think probably the main talking point coming out of the game was the injury to Harvey Elliott, which was very sad to see. Young player coming through. You don't want to see it happen to any player, but especially to a young player who's coming through. Just starting to get games for Liverpool as well. Just want to touch on the incident. Obviously, Sky didn't replay it, and I think it was a bit of a shame actually them not replaying it, because you couldn't really tell why the injury happened, what was the cause of it, and by not showing it, you didn't really get to see that. It would have been interesting to see because we could have gone, oh yeah, that's why, because it was the following leg coming through or something like that from Strook. But because we didn't, it's quite hard to tell. Going off just what we've seen, how did you feel about the challenge, Danny? And did you think it was deserving of a red card?
It didn't look that bad. Actually, you know, the Leeds fans sort of celebrated it as a good tackle in real time. And I don't think it was the worst challenge in the world, but it did end up in that horrific injury. And when there's like that sort of harm for the other player, you know, you got to send him off. I'm not too mad at the sending off. But I would say the sending off wasn't too big of a sort of game changer thing. I think Liverpool already should have had the game over by then. They completely dominated it, in my opinion. So it wasn't like the deciding factor of the game. It was just kind of irrelevant.
If I can touch on the injury, I think when it first happened, I didn't really have a clue what happened. And obviously, after the events at the Euros, where what happened with Christian Eriksen, I think now TV companies aren't going to show this, like what if something bad has happened, what actually happened. So I had to look on Twitter, and watching it back, it was a very unfortunate like injury for Elliott because Struijk wins the ball, but it's just a follow through, and he catches his ankle and it just dislocates it. And I think it was the severity of the injury is what brought upon the red card, because we saw that play continued and the ref didn't even initially blow. But as soon as Salah started calling the medical team over, we saw quite how bad it was. I just think it's unfortunate because Elliott was brilliant. He slotted into that team a treat. I think it's a setback, but he will come back stronger. And it was an unfortunate red card.
Yeah, I really, you know, I'm a big MMA fan. I've been watching it since I was 7 on the old Satana Sports. And I've kind of come a bit numb to it in the fact that, you know, it's not like, oh, I've got to look away or anything like that. Obviously, recently in MMA, there's been a lot of leg breaks happening. Obviously, I understand Sky not showing it because of, you know, the Eriksen incidents and stuff like that. But I just didn't think it was a red card. Honestly, I didn't think it was a foul at the time. Maybe looking back on it now, it is a foul, maybe because of the follow through of the back leg of Strook. But the ref was letting the game carry on. He didn't think it was a foul at first. And then he said to the players on the pitch that he thought he was going to give the red anyway before looking at VAR. Like, how can you say you're going to give a red card when you weren't even given a foul to start with? I thought it was a bit weird. I didn't think it was a red card.
It must be something to do with like the rules, that if there's like a really horrific injury like that and the player has caused it, even if it was a good challenge, they have to send him off. Because as you said, it didn't really look like a sending off. But
to me, what it looked like happened was his studs got stuck in the ground as his momentum went forward. He was stuck, and the player, obviously, was entangled a little bit. And the momentum sent him forward, but his foot was planted because of his studs. I don't think there was any malice in the challenge. I thought it was a fair challenge looking at it. Obviously, it's not the biggest talking point because, you know, the red card's not really that important when it comes to the player's health. Obviously, just hope Harvey Elliott can recover from this, you know, and come back stronger. Because he was starting to get game time for Liverpool, and I thought you could see him improving game by game.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Luke Shaw, like in terms of the timing of his career. You know, he was still very young, finally getting into the United team, just signed from Southampton, I think, and he was in really good form. All of a sudden, that double leg break just set him back a few years.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard it's a break. I've heard it's probably most likely an ankle dislocation, which, you know, obviously isn't as bad, but it is going to take some time to come back from. But all the best to Harvey Elliott coming back from that. Should we go to Arsenal-Norwich? You boys said you didn't really look at this game too much. I'll just do a quick recap. I thought the game was, you know, I thought Arsenal looked a lot better. Obviously, I can't really say much because they were against Norwich, and I think Norwich are probably the worst team in the league. You know, Arsenal went 1-0 up. Felt like their goal was, you know, they did create some good chances, but their goal was a bit jammy. Pepe's having a shot, it's saved by Krul. Then he's gone for the ball again, Pepe, but Brandon Williams hits onto the post. Then Pepe falls over, hits Pepe's foot and lands straight to Lacazette with an open goal. I thought Norwich did create some decent chances going the other way. I thought Kenny McLean could have gotten a goal with the header. I think Norwich would be very disappointed with that result. I think Arsenal take it. First goal of the season for them. First win of the season. I think they'll take that. I don't know if you boys have too much to say on that one.
I mean, I'd take it, wouldn't they?
I guess, yeah.
I think it's nice for Arsenal to get their first 3 points on the board, but I can't make too much of a comment. I'm not really too sure what happened in the game, but
yeah.
Something that I found interesting was I think Arteta after the game said it capped off his best ever week as a manager, which I thought was very interesting. 1-0 win over Norwich.
Man, he's a strange guy.
The bar has been set high with that one, the best week, a 1-0 win over Norwich.
Nah, man. Arteta is just a strange guy. Like, I don't understand how he got the Arsenal job in the first place. He went from filling up the water bottles at Man City to managing Arsenal.
No, he has a lot of potential. I just think it's come too early for him.
I don't know. They act like he's a club legend when, he...
More of an Everton legend.
He's more of an Everton legend, yeah. But yeah, let's move on from Arsenal Norwich. Chelsea Villa, Rod.
This still hurts me now. I think, which I imagine a lot of people did, it was on primetime TV on Sky, where I thought Villa, they set up exactly how they should have set up. Dean Smith showed that he is a capable manager of adapting to certain situations, and I thought we played brilliantly. We should have. Edouard Mendy turned into prime Manuel Neuer. We could not do anything to past him, and we were brilliant. And it just shows you the difference in teams where Chelsea, they need a couple chances. And when you have a world-class striker like Romelu Lukaku, he can finish one chance where it was a few to even get him on target. And it was disappointing because I thought we took the game to Chelsea. We're away. We had no reason to literally take it to them. We could have sat back and defended and countered, but we took it to them and we were brilliant. And it was just such a shame because even the XG says so, where we had an XG of 1.38 and Chelsea had an XG of 1.37. Yet they scored 3 goals and we scored none. So it was disappointing because I thought we were brilliant throughout. How did you see it, Jack? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought Villa were really good. The first goal was really disappointing. It just looked like the defence turned off. Tuan Zabi just kind of switched off, and then he saw that Lukaku was going through, and it's too late. But on a whole, I thought Chelsea were actually quite poor in this one. Obviously, they did enough to win, but I thought Villa bossed the midfield. Thought Sol had a real shocker for a debut. It was obvious that Dean Smith had sent out Ramsey and McGinn just to get on him, don't give him any time. And, he got the ball. He looked like he was playing the Jorginho role, getting the ball off the centre house and trying to spread it forward. But a lot of the time he's too lackadaisical on the ball, and McGinn was just hassling him all game. And it was, for Villa, I think they'll look at it and be disappointed. But I was very impressed with the way they set up, how the team played. I was a bit disappointed in Watkins. I thought he had a good game overall, but I just think some of the chances, he should have done better with, and some of the chances he shouldn't have even taken. I'm just interested to see, because I do like Villa in that formation. I thought they played really well with the back three. It's just how could you fit Buendia and Bailey into it, really?
For Bailey, especially where that was brilliant. And I think Bailey coming on kind of showed you what he's about, where he absolutely turned Marcus Alonso inside out multiple times. And I think it's about how can Dean Smith incorporate these different players like Buendia and Bailey, because in that formation he played on the weekend 5-3-2, it's Bailey's not a midfielder and he's not a striker. So when we go to 2 on the weekend against Everton, it's a nice to have to make, because compared to the squad depth we had a couple of years ago when we only just stayed up, it's completely different gravy. It's an interesting time to be a Villa fan, especially after these the first 2-3 games where we just didn't look at the races. And watching that Chelsea game, I realised that there is something in that squad. I think I'm looking forward to the rest of the games.
Yeah, it was just disappointing, really, the fact that, once the second goal went in, it was game over, really. I'd be interested to see if Buendia could maybe go into that Ramsey role in midfield. more of an attacking-minded midfielder. But obviously, I think like a player like Bruno would be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? That sort of role, potentially. Danny, did you have? Oh, sorry, Rod, go ahead.
Sorry. That's with Douglas Luiz and John McGinn. I think Buendia could play that other mid, like that next to them, because you will have McGinn kind of box to box, sitting back when need be, and we'll have Dougie playing number 6. That I think if need be, Buendia could play that role, but I think he's utilising better out on the right wing, where he spent most of his time at Norwich.
Okay, let's get into the top 4 race, Rod.
Wow, so I think this. Well, watching Monday Night Football yesterday, this was a talking point on there, and I think this year the caliber of players in the Premier League is phenomenal. And I remember, I think it was Gary Neville saying, or Jamie Carragher, where we haven't had this amount of in a long time, if ever, of watching the Premier League, and it'll be a 4-horse race fair where we've got City, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool with phenomenal squads and some depth better than obviously Chelsea and Man City compared to Liverpool. Their depth is phenomenal. I think this year it's going to be such an interesting race where I think we already have 3 teams on 10 points. I think it's Liverpool, Man United, and Chelsea all on the same goal difference as well. So it's a taste of things to come. How do you see it, Jack and Danny?
I'll go first. Yeah, I personally think it is probably the most talented Premier League, with the up the top especially. With the top 4, the only team I could see United struggling potentially if something happens in midfield. But I do see Liverpool dropping off eventually. I just don't think their squad is the depth is enough. Obviously, the starting 11 is brilliant, but the depth problem, and with the African Cup of Nations coming up, obviously losing Salah, losing Mane, Keita as well, it'd be quite interesting to see what happens around that January-February timeline. How do you feel, Danny?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Liverpool and how their first 11 is so strong, but beyond that, if they get a few injuries, they can sort of fall away. Like, I would say Liverpool are like the dark horses, because in terms of their performances so far, they've been really, really good. Like, going back to Liverpool from a couple of years ago, just so fast, so intense, the pressing, especially against Leeds, it was just, they should have been like 4-0 up. So I feel like the top 3 is like, the favourites, City, Chelsea, United, because of their quality in terms of their depth as well, their benches. But Liverpool would be that dark horse for the league.
Yeah.
Vintage Klopp is back, where high press, high tempo, they play some brilliant stuff. But I think you raised a good point, Jack, earlier on, where we have got the AFCON coming up and they're going to lose 2 key players. And how can they adapt, having not really signed anyone in the summer to integrate into the team? Whereas in defence now, they have options in Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, Joel Matip. They've got options. Even Fabinho can play there. But attack, that's how you win games. You score goals, and they're going to lose 2 big players. So how are they going to adapt? I'm not really too sure.
Yeah, the other teams, Chelsea, City as well, man. City without a striker. Obviously, they played Leicester this weekend. They got a 1-0 win, but I thought City looked a bit vulnerable. They still, obviously, they play their way, and fair play to Pep for playing his style. It's a bit like Bielsa. Bielsa plays his style, but they're so vulnerable on the counter-attack, and Leicester showed plenty of times that you can get City, so I'm not sure City are going to have the season that they want. And Chelsea as well, man. I really like Chelsea's squad, but Villa were able to get to them. Even though they won the game, Villa were very good against Chelsea, and it showed that other teams can do bits against them as well.
So you're saying United are going to win the league?
Nah, I don't think United are going to win the league. I don't know, man. I don't think Liverpool... I think Chelsea, if anyone's going to do it, it'd probably be Chelsea.
City can play different ways, and Pep can put Jesus there. He can put Torres there. And obviously, they're not complete figures like Harry Kane, who's one of the world strikers, but City, they're going to be up there again. And I don't like City, especially they've even got De Bruyne coming back. They've got Foden. The depth is ridiculous. But come the end of the year, So I'd rather Chelsea do it.
Yeah. Just before we preview next week's games, there's another talking point on Monday Night Football. You know, Gary Neville brought up the question that he was asked, who would you have coming on for you, you know, if you wanted to win a game in the last 10 minutes? And he said Ronaldo. And he said that he probably thinks Ronaldo is the greatest player of all time. And obviously Jamie felt like Messi was. I just wanted to have the talk with you boys, because it has always been a topic online where people argue over who's better, Ronaldo or Messi. I want to start with you, Rod. I'm pretty sure I know who you think's better.
Lionel Messi is the greatest player to ever grace the game. I think there's arguments that Ronaldo is a more complete player and potentially a greater athlete, which puts him very high up in the debate. But I think what Messi can bring, his link-up play is phenomenal. He can change a game with his movement, with his play. And we've seen, I think, he has scored 4 less goals than Ronaldo, but he has played 117 less games.
Yeah.
Which is absolute phenomenal, that goal scoring record. I think Gary Neville, he went back on a lot of his points where Carragher pointed them out, but I think coming off the bench, you'd prefer Messi going based off goals. And he has scored 3 less free kicks than Ronaldo, or it could be the other way around. But once again, he has played 117 less games. It just shows you the quality. He is the greatest player of all time, in my opinion. How do you see it, Jack?
I felt Gary Neville did a bad job at arguing this point, to be honest, on Monday Night Football, because, you know, Carragher's going, oh yeah, look at the goal scoring record. But when you think about it, Ronaldo came for it Sporting as a left midfielder in a 4-4-2. Same with United, he played left and right mid. And, you know, it's obviously a very different position to playing as a left winger in a 4-3-3 or a right winger, you know, where Messi has played more as a false 9 or on the right hand side of for Barcelona. So the goal scoring in certain games and how he's had less games for Ronaldo, I don't really think too much about that. In terms of who's the better player, I think footballing ability-wise, I'd probably say Messi. He's better on the ball, he's a better passer. But Ronaldo is a better athlete, hands down, than Messi. You know, you just look at him, he's 6'2", he's faster than Messi. Well, in their prime, I'd say Ronaldo is a faster sprinter than Messi. Messi might be quicker on the ball dribbling, but I'd say Ronaldo's quicker without the ball. He can jump higher than Messi, you know, and I just feel like if you are arguing for Ronaldo as the best player, you got to say, like, why would you say that? And the reason for me is he can play in more systems than Messi could. I think, you know, you could put Ronaldo in the Burnley side and he'd do a job. I feel like Messi would just be a bit, you know, overwhelmed in it. But
I think he'd do it at a cold, wet night on Tuesday night at Stoke.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate to say. Obviously, I think Ronaldo probably is a better athlete, but it's Messi's genetics, which I think in your argument make him less of an athlete, which I think he is a small guy. He's a very good athlete, but
he wasn't fed when he grew up.
He was gifted more. Ronaldo is more gifted as an athlete, which kind of makes it very close with him and Messi, I think, because Messi, I would say, is better footballer, but because Ronaldo's such a good athlete, he closes the gap, I would say.
And we've got to understand that football is a team game, and there are arguments that make Messi more of a team player compared to a Ronaldo, where I think a lot of the time Ronaldo wants it to be the Ronaldo show. He wants to be the top guy, the go-to guy, whereas Messi, he's happy slotting in, and just as long as the team win, I think, which is more important than it just being the individual Ronaldo show.
Yeah, you know, Ronaldo is just a winner, I think, and he just wants to win. But I will say I am biased, and even if I say I'm not biased, I am biased because growing up, you know, Ronaldo was at United. I was watching him every week, and you know, it's just I can't say the same for Messi. I have more of a connection with Ronaldo than I do Messi, and it's okay. Like Gary Neville was going. Jamie said to Gary that you're biased because you played with him, and Gary said, "No, I'm not." But it's okay to be biased. Everyone has a bias. It's like, Rod, you're going to be biased towards Villa and stuff like that. And I just felt like I feel like if I was picking a team, I'd want Ronaldo just because of he is an athlete, and what he can do is he just moments of brilliance to win a game where like it could be a ball in the air and he can just win it, stuff like that. But if I'm not being biased, I probably would say Messi is the better player. Team player definitely.
What I would say, which hasn't been said yet, is if you look at the trajectory of their career, it's been very different. I think he played up for Barcelona for over a decade, where Barcelona probably arguably the greatest club team of all time with Xavi and Iniesta, Puyol, Piqué, Dani Alves. That team was unbelievable. Ronaldo never played in a team as good as that, in my opinion.
I think he did.
Ronaldo played when he first joined United. Ronaldo didn't win the league for a couple of seasons. That Juventus team last season was poor. This United team this season, we don't know how good they are. Whereas Messi has, apart from last season, I would say he has played consistently at some of the such a good level of play, and one league as well, La Liga, where Barcelona and Real Madrid dominate it every year. More opportunities to score more goals. Ronaldo's done it in different leagues, different teams, and you could say Ronaldo has more adaptability, but again, on a technical level, Messi is more gifted, and maybe that's what it boils down to.
I just want to say, you said, he's never played on a team as good as Messi, but I disagree. I think you look at the Real Madrid team he played with, I think just because he's Ronaldo, he gets all the headlines, and whereas Messi, he does get all the headlines, but Barcelona's team is more appreciated in a way. I don't know how to describe it, but they're always...
Because they were better.
No, but how can you say that when they had Kroos and Modric in midfield? They had Varane, Ramos... They've had Benzema. Benzema might be one of the most underrated players of all time. He's so good. They had Bale on the other side when Bale was prime time. It's one of the best teams ever. And
it wasn't though, because they won those 3 Champions Leagues in a row, but they didn't win the league once when they won those Champions Leagues. They didn't dominate on all fronts like that Barcelona team did.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I just feel... What do you think, Rod? Do you think that Ronaldo has never played in a team as good as Messi?
I think he has played in a team just as good as Messi.
Yeah.
But I think a point that I'm going to make to kind of round up this discussion, I think let's not compare them and let's just enjoy them while they're there. Because
100%.
It's unlikely that we're going to get 2 players like this who compete individual team again for a long time, where they between them they share 11 Ballon d'Ors, which is phenomenal. So just to finish off, I think let's not compare them and let's just enjoy them while they're still playing football.
I 100% agree. We might never see a rivalry as good as this in sports ever again, because the race for who's the best, who's going to win the Ballon d'Or every year, growing up, it's been kind of nuts. It's only ever been 2, hasn't it? Really, Ronaldo and Messi, basically. I know Modric got it the 1 year, but
so only Ronaldo and Messi have been, while we've been growing up anyway.
Yeah. Just to end off this week's video, just wanted to go through the fixtures of next week. Preview them quickly.
Let's go.
So we start on Friday night football, St James's Park, Newcastle versus Leeds. For me, I think Leeds are just going to overrun them. I think they'll bring them into an open game, and that's where Leeds will just overrun them. They're more suited towards the open game than Newcastle are.
Yeah, I felt these are the sorts of games Leeds won last season. Leeds struggle against the best teams because they have better quality, but Leeds, against teams like Newcastle, where the quality is quite poor, the style of play is quite poor, it just plays into Leeds' hands, doesn't it? So I can't see anything past the Leeds win, really. I would go 2-0 Leeds.
This is going to be a game where Leeds should win comfortably, and they have to kind of win it, especially after their start. And Newcastle, without Wilson, are nowhere near the same outfit. Yes, they have set maximum, but they missed that prolificness and that clinicalness of Wilson. So I can see a 2-3-0 Leeds. It should be quite an easy day for them.
I'm just going to go with a wild score. I'm going to say 5-2 Leeds. I think that Newcastle may get in a couple times on the break. I could see maybe a St Maximin goal, maybe a Willett goal. 5-2 Leeds.
And moving on to the Wolves Brentford game, I think these are two good teams. They've got something to prove, especially Wolves with a new manager, Brentford coming up. So I can see it being a good game. It's the early kickoff, and I do remember a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "Never back the early kickoff." So I can see it. I think it's going to be a 1-1.
Yeah, fair enough. Wolves versus Brentford. I really like Brentford. I think Tony hasn't played as I thought he was going to play. He's played more as like the secondary striker, where Mbuemo's been getting most of the chances for Brentford. He hasn't been very clinical. Obviously, Wolves scored the other day, which was great for them. I see Wolves winning this just because of how good they are defensively, and Brentford not having the players to take away the chances because of Tony not playing as the central target man, which he is. So I'm going to go with Wolves 2-0.
I think this game's gonna be quite tight. I think Brentford and Wolves are two good teams, but Wolves are getting into their stride finally. I'm going for 2-1 Wolves.
Fair enough. Burnley against Arsenal at Turf Moor. I actually think that Arsenal's winning run is going to come to an end. I just think that Burnley are a hard team to play against, and I think that they'll kind of like bully Arsenal, especially now with how the Premier League's being run, where it's a more physical game. I think maybe Burnley 2-0.
I think this is a game where I can't see it being particularly exciting, especially after watching Burnley yesterday. They are at home, but I can see it being low scoring. I'm going to have to go 1-0 Arsenal.
Oh, going against the Brexit ball.
For me, Burnley are going to get those high, long balls into the box, and Arsenal's defenders are going to be bullied. But Arsenal are going to have a lot of quality. I think it's going to be a tight 1-1 draw.
Yeah, and just to go on Arsenal, just a little thing. I think they're going to get bullied because Ben White was getting bullied by Timu Puki. I wonder what's going to happen when it's Ashley Barnes and Chris Woods up there. Liverpool versus Palace, Anfield, 3:00 kickoff. Danny?
I think this is the default Liverpool win just because of how well they are playing. But Crystal Palace played well last weekend, but they had the sort of home supporters of Selhurst Park back in. I just don't see them playing as well away from home. So Liverpool 3-0 win.
I have to completely agree with Danny, where Palace did have their back in last week against Spurs. I think it should be a win for Liverpool. I think I'm going to go 3-1. Hopefully Salah hat-trick will be good for the fantasy. How are you seeing it, Jag?
I just want to go against you guys and pick Palace. So I'm going to go pick Palace. I'm going to go Palace with a 1-0 win. Just for... I don't know. Liverpool are good. I'm just thinking about how they're going to press Palace and make it very hard for them. Probably Liverpool win, but 1-0 Palace. Let's go.
I think you need to take down your Patrick Vieira posters in your room, Jack.
Man, I love Patrick. He didn't even play for United. Can you believe it? How biased I am towards him.
Posted that instead.
Yeah. City against Southampton.
Go on, Rod.
I City kind of running riot. Southampton haven't had the best start being away. I think I'm going to go 2-0. How you see it?
For me, like something about like Man City being at home at 3:00 against one like this sort of team where they always win by like 4-0 or something.
Yeah.
Like when have they ever dropped points in this sort of situation? It's very rare. It's almost the like away games on Super Sunday where City are more likely to lose. This is just like got 4-0 written all over it.
I don't know. First time was so nice. They have to tie it twice. Maybe it's going to be a 9-0. Who knows? I'm going to go for City. City 5-0. Norwich against Watford. Danny.
This is quite an interesting team. Two teams coming up from the interesting game. Sorry, two teams coming up from the Championship. Norwich and Watford. Norwich, they're okay, but they probably have the poorest squad in the league, and this is the sort of game Watford need to be winning, and I think they are going to win it 2-1.
I think when you think of a 3 p.m. kickoff, you think of Norwich Watford. It's gonna once again. I don't think it's going to be the best of games. I think Watford will probably be the better team, and I'll probably see them winning 2-1. Norwich being at home might allow them to score a goal, but I'm not too sure. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I think Norwich being at home and against like familiar opposition in Watford from I went all country, yeah. Watford. Yeah, going up against Watford, familiar opposition. I think Norwich can do a job here. But I have been very impressed with Watford, so I'm going to probably go with a 0-0.
I think I'll start with this Villa.
Yeah, go on, it's your voice.
Everton played that 3-4-3 yesterday. I thought, okay, I think we have a chance. And then as soon as they switched up the formation, they ran riot. And we are at home. We should have a full strength squad with Martinez and Buendia coming back. And I'm gonna get a bias into the mix. I think we're gonna win 2-0.
Okay, fair enough. Like I was talking to you last night, Rob. I was watching Everton play Burnley, and I'm like, I don't have no idea why they started with a back three. Just put an extra midfielder in there, and as soon as they did that, they absolutely battered Burnley. It depends what formation Villa play. I think if they play with a back three, they're more likely to get a result in this one. I think if they start with a back four, I could see Everton winning, and I think they will start with a back four. And I'm going to go 2-1 Everton, Damari Gray double for the fantasy. Brighton against Leicester at the Amex. I think this is quite an interesting game. It's not being televised here in the UK, like most of the games. Yeah, I really like Brighton. I'm a big Graham Potter fan. I can see him on my poster behind me right now. Yeah, I'm going to go Brighton to get a result in this one. I think they'll be tested defensively, but I still don't rate Leicester that much defensively. So I'm going to go with Brighton 1-0.
I think Brighton, they are, so to speak, the XG gods, and Leicester haven't probably had the start they want. But it's going to be a tough game at the Amex. Never easy travelling to the south. I think it's going to be a 1-0, but it's going to be a very entertaining game.
Yeah, Danny.
For me, Leicester have had a very slow start to the season, but I think they're finally going to get some points on the board and get a 1-0 win.
Fair enough. West Ham at home against United. I think this is going to be a very tight game, but I do see United just getting the upper hand. Maybe a 1-0 late winner from Ronaldo, header.
Yeah,
this is a game.
Yeah, this is a game, and I just wanted to say, I'm excited to see how like the home fans react to Ronaldo. I think he's going to get booed a lot, but he's going to silence them. He's going to silence the haters so quickly. It's going to be 4-0 United.
I think that is a brave prediction. I see it being, or at best, I think it's going to be a 2-1 United, but playing at the Olympic Stadium isn't going to be easy, that's for sure.
Yeah, Spurs versus Chelsea to finish off a really good weekend of games. This is a cracking game, but I think Lukaku's going to have his way, and I think Chelsea 3-1.
I have to agree with you here, Jack. I think Chelsea are going to be the better team. Spurs, especially if Son's out, I can't see him creating too much. So I'm going to have to probably go 2-1 Chelsea.
Annie?
I completely agree. Spurs just look depleted and they look so poor. And Chelsea, they didn't even play well against Villa, but they just have the quality up front to get those goals. So it's going to be a Chelsea win.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the end of the show, guys. Thanks for watching. Once again, please subscribe, leave a like and comment below. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care.